making it happen. That's what makes America great.
It's absolutely amazing.
Malcolm Out Loud. Remember, get involved, get loud. Good afternoon. This is Malcolm Out Loud. We have an Out Loud interview this afternoon, and it's with none other than Big Boy. Big Boy Restaurants, of course. What a brand. What a piece of Americana. Since 1936, Big Boy Restaurants has darted the landscape in America. And it's one of those brands, it's a sort of sense when you see it, you know the food is good, you know it's there, you know what it's about. And that's why I like Big Boy Restaurant. So I remember stopping there a lot as a kid and what it meant and what it was about. So we have an out loud and in-person interview today with our dear buddy, Mr. Keith Sirois, CEO. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. And so we're going to talk to you today about the makeover of this iconic brand, where it sits today and where we're headed in the future, because I know you have some exciting things going on, Keith. So let's bring it forward. I want to give folks, first off, a bit of history that prior to Big Boy, you were president and CEO for Checkers Drive-In Restaurants, and I remember that, and held a variety of leadership positions in the restaurant industry throughout your career. Now, I know with Checkers, you sort of got in there and really helped turn that restaurant chain around.
Well, I was part of a group, part of a good team that did it, sure. Sure, we had a good run for about 11 years over there, the team. And,
I remember it well, and that's what you've become known as, really, as a franchise guy. I mean, that's what you've done so well, I think, yeah?
That's all I know how to do, so I'm going to stick with it.
One-trick pony! But it's good. But it's good. So, all right, so Big Boy Restaurants is headquartered out of the Detroit area, okay, Warren, Michigan.
That's right.
Okay, and you're operating, I understand, about 300 restaurants, about 200 in the United States, and how many in Japan?
There's a couple of hundred in Japan as well. 208, I believe, right now.
In Japan?
Yes.
And about actually 300 in the States?
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So that's where Big Boy sits today. And, all right, so let's start off. And so here we are today. We have a different vibe going on. This recession has hit a lot of companies and businesses across the board, without a doubt. I mean, you know, you think we have to eat, so the restaurant business might be in a better position than, let's say, the automakers that have to make cars and get people to buy them. So we've got unemployment running still in that 10% range in the country, Keith, up to 12% in areas 13. Detroit is actually even higher.
Way up, yeah.
I mean, they're like one person for like 20-something jobs is what I understand.
Yes.
The ratio there is incredible. So it doesn't seem like there's an end to sight in all of this right now with the economic downturn and all. Do you think the answer to some of these problems should be that people should eat more hamburgers?
Absolutely. That is the key. That is the key.
Eat more Big Boy hamburgers.
That's it.
Well, they're good, so they're easy to eat, man.
They are.
Well, you know, the hamburger, you know, that is America. You know, I mean, it wasn't apple pie, it was hamburgers.
It was hamburgers. Yeah, apple pie came along much later.
See? We all got bamboozled with
That's
that
right.
whole deal. And it wasn't Chevrolet, it was Infiniti. So, anyways, let's start off and talk about, now, Big Boy this is an interesting thing that most people don't know out there, is Big Boy started it all, okay? And when I say that, what I'm meaning is that we know you're familiar with Whoppers, you're familiar with Big Macs and all of that. Why don't you tell us what a Big Boy is so people know?
A Big Boy is the original, and I'll say that again, the original double-decker cheeseburger. Big Boy goes back to 1936, and that sandwich was created just a few years after that and named after a young man who hung around the restaurant. But Big Boy was long before the Big Mac, long before the Double Whopper, long before any of them. The classic Big Boy cheeseburger.
How did it get its name, Big Boy Restaurant?
There was, as I said, a young man that hung around the restaurants, a boy, in fact, and he wore his overalls, if you will, with no shirt, and he'd help out Bob Wyan, who was the founder of the Big Boy Restaurant. He'd sweep up and take out trash and do little things like that, and he called him Big Boy. Hey, Big Boy, come over here.
He was a big boy, I take it?
He was a big boy,
okay.
Yeah. His name was Richard Woodruff, by the way, and he said, gee, that's what I'm going to call this new creation, the double-deck cheeseburger. I'm going to call it Big Boy.
And that's how it all started.
That's how it all started.
And that was well before the McDonald's Whopper
Well before
deal,
those folks.
Checkers, all of them now.
Sure.
And burgers are sort of on a right now. I sense, Keith, they're sort of an uptick with what's going on with this actually with these burger restaurants. I've seen them everywhere.
Yeah, there is. There's an uptick. There's what you call a fast casual restaurants where there's a little better quality, little higher end product that folks are moving towards. And I mean, it's Americana. It's classic American food. It's comfort food. And during these times, people like to go there.
There are many times I know after a long day, and it was just actually this past week, I was with someone and I said, you know what, we need some comfort food tonight. That brings back a thought because some days you just need that. You know, that's something you sort of want, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, all right, how do you think the recession is impacting right now the restaurant industry? I'm anxious to get your perspective at this moment, in more specifically the fast casual dining industry.
Mm-hmm. Well, what we're seeing is a generation that's kind of grown up in fast food as kids, going for their kids' meals and their toys and things. And they're moving, as young adults, they're moving into this better burger place, this better restaurant, the fast casual, if you will, the Chipotles, the Paneras, those types of restaurants are their restaurant of choice today.
Just a little more upscale, maybe,
Yes.
than I see. And that makes sense because I think today's, I think you're right, today's audience is I don't know, a little more incriminating taste maybe or something, but
I think so,
yeah.
yeah.
There's something more to it.
They're looking for better.
Yeah. And so where are we at right now, though, as far as the crossroads of the recession and the restaurant industry? What are your thoughts?
It's been a very difficult time for the restaurant industry. You know, when times get real tough, as they have been these last few years, folks look for ways to cut expenses. And restaurants are a luxury to a lot of folks, and they cut those expenses. We've also had grocery prices coming down while restaurant prices had been going up. So it made it real easy for people to stay home and eat.
So your sense is that grocery prices are coming down?
They have been.
Really?
They have been. They're starting to tick back up. We're coming closer together again.
I didn't realize that.
But yeah, they had been.
So that made it more affordable for people to eat at home.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But, you know, I'm still at restaurants now, and they're packed still. I mean, it seems at least the ones we're seeing. I mean, I don't know. So.
Yeah, it depends where you go.
Yeah.
You know, what time of day, what day. But, you know, restaurants can't live on, on 2 days a week, 2 nights a week.
I think you're right. That's a great point, actually. You're speaking of the Friday, Saturday night boom.
Right.
Yeah. In other words, if you can't pull in X, Y, Z on Tuesday or Wednesday night in the business, they're going to suffer in the long term, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess that's part of the problem.
It's a big part of the
Of
problem.
the whole business. Yeah, in fact, I remember in the industry, a lot of people always referred to Friday as like the amateur night for people going out to eat. Did you ever hear that saying?
I've heard it, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how true it is. Like, I don't know what that means, but it's like amateur night, Friday nights, anyway. I've been out on Friday nights, sometimes other nights. I'm not sure whatever day of the week it is here, man. But let's talk specifically as we discuss the past, this brand, this iconic brand of Big Boy restaurants. What do you think has made it what it is? It's there's a lot of brands that have come and gone. But this brand right here has been one that is near and dear to people. When you see this guy, you sort of know it. Even when you come through the Great Smoky Mountains, there's one right through the mountains that I've stopped at quite a bit, actually, when I'm driving up and down there, by the way. And it's perfect. You know, you probably know which one I'm speaking about.
Cherokee.
Right, yeah, right in Cherokee. That's it. Yeah, yep. I haven't told you that, but it's cool. So what is it? What's the attraction of Americans to this little boy here?
Well, they know Big Boy. They're comfortable with Big Boy. They know what they can expect. Everybody has a Big Boy story, too, that take them back to a time that they enjoy, they remember fondly. They met a spouse. They had their first date. They used to go to Big Boy after football games in high school and things. So there's a connection with real good memories and Big Boy.
Yeah, yeah. And what a past it has. What a history. Big Boy Restaurant stands for in this country. I know that we'd chat a little bit earlier, and there are some expansion plans and things ahead, and new ideas, reinvention, things that I talk about all the time on this show, reinvention. How do you take a brand that's been tried and true? How do you take something from the past, Keith, and bring it forward in today's world where people are a bit more they want very discriminating taste, you know. They want what they want, and they want it now. They want it at the best price, and that's the deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And the answer to the question is very carefully. Do you take an iconic brand and change it?
Right.
Because people rely on what it is, but yet you're trying to position yourself for a new generation of users.
That is very tricky. That is very tricky. I mean, you can blow that thing in a hot second. I mean, especially, and I mean, Coca-Cola found that out. You know, when you try to rock the boat too far one way where they really like the staple. So I guess here the staple is, it's what's on that little plate right there, man. That's where it all started, you know. And it is such a piece, it is such an icon and a piece of Americana when I think of Big Boy. And I'm so excited it's still with us today here in 2010, you know, and that it still has a place. Because some brands, you know, haven't been that fortunate.
They haven't, particularly restaurant brands. There are very few that can say they'll be 75 years old next year.
Yeah, next year's a big year for y'all.
Yes,
75 years old. 75 years old, Big Boy Restaurants, and you know, to stand the test of time and to know what you're all about and understand the growth of a brand. What we need to find out from Keith Sirois is what's up next. How do you take this iconic brand? How do you move it forward? And how do you continue to test new generations with coming back to the burger? And a lot of other great ideas that they have. We're going to be back for part 2 here with Keith Sirois, CEO of Big Boy Restaurants, in just a bit here. It's Malcolm Out Loud. Remember, get involved, get loud.